I now call this meeting of the Geary Sanitary District Board of Commissioners, the regular meeting for October 21st, 2019, to order. First thing on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you stand with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on our agenda is roll call. Ms. Lee.
Commissioner Tramell Rags.
Present.
Commissioner Maurice Mabon.
Present.
Commissioner Ola Morris.
Present.
Commissioner Charles Jackson.
Present.
Attorney Jewel Harris Jr.
Present.
Executive Director Daniel Vicari.
Present.
Director of Administration Vern White.
Present.
And that's the end of roll call.
Thank you. With 4 commissioners here, we have a quorum to do business. Next on our agenda is certification. I, Tramell Rags, certify that there was an executive session held prior to this public meeting, and that there was nothing that was discussed during that executive session except the items that were posted and indicated on the executive session notice, posted in compliance with Indiana Code 5-14-1.5. Also, no final decisions were made during that executive session, also in compliance with the same statute. If there is any commissioner that dissents certification, they may do so now. Hearing no dissension, we will move along the agenda to the minutes. What is the pleasure of the board regarding the minutes?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the executive session and regular meeting minutes for October the 7th, 2019.
Second that, Mr. Chair.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Lee.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
Commissioner Mabon.
Yes.
And Commissioner Rags.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
With 4 ayes and 0 noes, the minutes have been approved. Moving along our agenda, next we come to new business, and for new business, I will turn it over to the Executive Director, Mr. Daniel Vicari.
Thank you, Chairman. If I could ask for Vern White to provide you items 2A and 2B.
Thank you, Director. Item 2A, a motion to approve GSD payroll earnings for period ending September 2nd, 2019 through September 15, 2019, in the amount of $244,330.11. I recommend approval as stated in the motion.
You've heard the overview and recommendation with regard to 2A. What is the pleasure of the board?
So move for approval, Mr. Chair. Second, Mr. Chair.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Lee.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
Commissioner Mabon.
Yes.
Commissioner Rags.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
With 4 ayes and 0 noes, 2A has been approved.
Item 2B, a motion to approve GSD's payroll earnings for period ending September 16, 2019 through September 29, 2019, in the amount of $240,461.12. I recommend approval as stated in the motion.
You've heard the overview and recommendation with regard to 2B. What is the pleasure of the board?
So move, Mr. Chair. Second, Mr. Chair.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Lee.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
Commissioner Mabon.
Yes.
Commissioner Rags.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
With 4 ayes and 0 noes, 2B has been approved.
Item 2C is a motion to approve an award of bid. I would like to repeat that. A motion to approve and ratify is my proposed modification to this, the way it's written. It's a motion to approve and ratify an award of bid to Alex Met Sewers for an emergency sanitary sewer repair at the vicinity of 2601 Polk Place in a not to exceed amount of $25,700.00. This was a complete collapse. We were looking for emergency quotes from contractors to repair the damaged section of pipe. It's roughly 60 feet of 12-inch diameter sewer that we're looking to replace. The contractor has mobilized, Alex Met Sewers, that is, and we are looking for the board, again, to approve and ratify item 2C. I recommend approval.
You've heard the overview and recommendation with regard to 2C. What is the pleasure of the board?
So move for approval, Mr. Chair. Second, Mr. Chair.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion?
What's the status on this?
They've just mobilized today.
Just mobilized.
So I'll get you a status. I can send you a written update. as soon as we have one. It won't take more than a couple days to finish. One thing I forgot to add is that just like all emergency repairs, we did solicit from multiple contractors, in this case 15 contractors. We had 5 respond, so we had good participation even on an emergency basis.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Lee.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
Commissioner Maybach.
Yes.
Commissioner Raggs.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
With 4 ayes and 0 noes, 2C has been approved.
And that is all for new business.
All right, moving along our agenda, next we come to claims, and for claims, I'll turn it over to the Director of Administration, Ms. Vern White.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 3A, GSD claims numbers 4,106 through 4,225, in the amount of $892,529.30. I recommend approval and ratification of today's GSD claims.
You've heard the overview and recommendation with regard to 3A. What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved and probably ratified, Mr. Chairman.
Second, Mr. Chair.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Lee.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
Commissioner Maybach.
Yes.
Commissioner Raggs.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
With 4 ayes and 0 noes, 3A has been approved and ratified.
Item 3B, GSD financials. The financials have been submitted as a matter of record.
Question for the attorney. GSD financials have been submitted as a matter of record. Is that necessarily an action item for the commissioners?
You can accept them so that they're placed on permanent file, so I think it's worth a vote, yes.
Okay. You've heard the overview with regard to 3B. I would entertain a motion from the board to accept the financials.
So moved, Mr. Chair, for acceptance of the GSD financials.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion?
Since I think this is the first time this has happened, I just want the commissioners to be aware. This isn't, your vote doesn't indicate that you're in agreement with anything that's in the report necessarily. It's just accepting the reports as they were submitted to you for placement into permanent file, to the record.
Any other discussion?
What type of record?
Our record, just like if anyone were to request copies of the minutes or any other public document, that's what this would be. It wouldn't be an internal report that was created for, let's say, Ms. White's own purpose. It would be formally submitted to the board, and now it becomes a record of the board.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Lee.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
Commissioner Maybach.
Yes.
Commissioner Raggs.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
With 4 ayes and 0 noes, the financials have been accepted.
That completes today's GSD claims and financial items.
Thank you. Moving along our agenda, next we come to information updates, and the first information update will be from our plant superintendent, Ms. Rhonda Anderson.
Good morning. As we've discussed a couple of times, we are a part of NIPSCO's Energy Efficiency Program, and this program offers financial incentives to complete capital projects that involve replacing equipment with more energy efficient alternatives. With CDM's help, we submitted an application for the aeration improvement project, and we had a few weeks ago an inspection on our current equipment, which is part of the process. So just this morning, we received an incentive offer for our aeration improvement project. So we have to submit saying we accept the offer, and then once the project is completed, and what that does is it earmarks the funds that we would receive upon completion of the project. So just wanted to give you an update on that. We've talked about it a lot. So they have received it, they've done inspection, and once we send the offer letter back, then that earmarks the funds for us to receive a rebate upon project completion. A meeting has been scheduled for Tuesday, October 29th with GSD and CDM to discuss the grid system improvement project 30% design. The October NWIOA meeting will be hosted by Michigan City this coming Thursday, and the technical presentation will be dual-use filtration for peak flow management. Last week, it was week before last, the monthly process control strategies call with GSD and CDM staff was held. During these calls, we review plant data and trends and discuss ways that we can optimize plant performance. So we had the most recent call on October 10th. For maintenance, we've installed a zero-speed sensor for the dewatering screw conveyor, and what that does is when the conveyor stops, it'll automatically stop a belt filter press so that there's not a big mess so the presses don't spill sludge onto the floor. So that was replaced last week. The 37.0 auto sampler keypad was replaced. 3 of the gravity tank diaphragm pumps were rebuilt. Belts on belt filter press number 3 were replaced. Control house number 1 sump pump discharge line was repaired. And finally, the east sodium hypochlorite pump was replaced. And that's all I have. Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Ms. Anderson?
Ms. Anderson, you said the grid system, some type of improvement you're going to be implementing?
Yes, the 30% design has been completed, and we are looking at discussing that in the October 29th meeting where the grid, we're replacing the grid classifiers with grid washers and replacing the grid pumps and a lot of the piping and controls.
The blower system, where are we now?
The blower,
Yeah.
I'm going to defer to Anthony. He has more recent information than I do.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Could let you go.
Yeah, so I think the agreement should be pretty much squared away this week, and then we'll get a schedule from Thieneman, likely, I would say, hopefully by the end of this week, and then we'll start moving forward. So we've had our pre-construction meeting, and we're ready to hit the ground, so we could see mobilization as early as next week.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That's all right.
Anything else from Ms. Anderson? No. Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Our next information update will be in reference to construction activities, and that will come from Mr. Eric Tonk.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm going to provide a brief update on current construction projects. Thank you, Commissioner Jackson, for reminding me to put the blower project on my list. The 29th and Jerry Street Drainage Project is complete. We submitted paperwork to the contractor for the final completion and release retainage. Once we get those documents back, we'll submit those to the board for approval. The Clark Road Project, there's a couple punch list items remaining. One of them is depending on NIPSCO to lower their natural gas line valve. So in order to pour the concrete section on that sidewalk, so we're waiting for NIPSCO on that one. The Ambridge Project, there's 2 point repairs that need to get completed. Those should be completed by the end of this week. Resurfacing of the alleys and any other disturbed areas should be completed by the end of the month. And then the remaining sewer lining should start either this week or next week. The Lake Street Road Construction Project, that's moving along nicely. It should be completed on time. This weekend, they installed asphalt between 5th Avenue and Old Miller Avenue. They also did 2 different layers between 3rd and 5th Avenues. On the portion between 5th and Old Miller Avenue, they have to pour concrete curbs first before they finish asphalting that area. That should be, it was going to happen today, but with this weather, they might get delayed today. But hopefully we can get that road open quickly for the businesses in time for the holiday seasons. The paving here, the treatment plant is complete. We have to do a final walkthrough, develop any punch list items. I'm expecting to do that this week with Robinson Engineering. The Forest Avenue projects, Forest Avenue and Locust Avenue project, the agreement has been signed. We need to issue the formal notice to proceed for that project. Hopefully this project will start shortly. As a separate portion of this project, GSD did hire tree removal services, so that project can't start until those trees have been removed, but they should be completed early this week on that tree removal. And the last one I have is the 20th Avenue Stormwater Project between Taft and Ellsworth. Again, we're waiting to issue the notice to proceed for that. We need to get the performance bond and payment bond before we can do that, but this project should get started shortly. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Mr. Tonk?
Yes, Mr. Tonk, the Ambridge Alley repair, are you going to spot pave those particular areas, or are you completely pave?
Some of them may be spot repaired where they had to do the point repairs, so just a certain section of it. We replace in kind. If the alley is paved, we'll do pavement. If the alley is just gravel surface, we'll just replace with gravel. But yeah, not the entire alleys will be paved.
The reason I asked that because I've noticed the water company doing repair over in the Madison Street area. They're doing spot repair, and instead of just paving the whole alley, it's a spot here, a spot there, and a spot here and everywhere, where they've dug in and just come back and put a patch here, a patch there, which look really rough and lousy. And we just could go in on and pave the whole alley and be done. That's my opinion. Could you bring that to their attention?
I will bring it to the City of Gary Public Works Department. They have authority over those street cuts. In fact, this is how paper gets flowed downhill. Eric, can you call Ms. LeBroy and let her know?
I will.
Thank you.
Got the buck?
Yeah.
Pass the buck?
Yeah, sorry.
Thanks, Eric. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Eric. That's all I have.
Any other questions for Mr. Tonk? Thank you, Mr. Tonk.
Thank you.
Our next information update will come from our compliance department, and that will come from Ms. Tammy Davis.
Good morning still, commissioners and administrators. Just a quick follow-up. You have in your board packages a complete report of some of the job site visits and monitoring for compliance with our contractors. So we have submitted our notices of non-compliance to our contractors, and so we continue to look forward to working with the board on how best to address our contractors that we find to be not in compliance. We assisted the City of Gary, Indiana American Water Company, Majestic Star, and Spectacle Entertainment in putting on a business and resource expo last week. So it was quite successful, and we were very happy to see as many minority and local businesses and contractors present. For those that missed it, they definitely missed opportunities with engaging with our certifying agencies. We were able to get DBE certification agencies, MWBE, as well as veteran-owned business enterprise certification agencies there. We also had present several banks that were offering access to capital and cash flow loans to contractors, namely Centier Bank, BMO Harris Bank, and First Financial Bank, who is offering a microloan for specifically Gary businesses. So we are very pleased to not only offer the contracting opportunities, but also in providing those resources that would be removing barriers for contractors to further develop and grow with doing business with us. And so we're very happy and pleased at the result of that particular expo. Moving forward, also in regards to outreach, I would encourage all of our local businesses to complete our procurement notification registration form, which they can find on the Gary Sanitary District's website, because that is one of the avenues that we use to identify and notify businesses of additional outreach and networking opportunities. And so with that, I want to make sure that the contracting community is aware of a DBE outreach event that is being hosted by a joint venture between FH Passion and Ragnar Benson. They are the joint venture that is working on the West Lake Corridor project, and they are hosting an outreach event on October the 24th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Plum Creek Center, located at Elmer Miller Park in Dyer, Indiana, at 222 Schultz Street. They can also contact me if they would like to RSVP for the event or have more information, but this is specifically for the West Lake Corridor project that is being led by FH Passion and Ragnar Benson. They are a joint venture. And interested contractors can reach me at tammy@garysand.com, or they can RSVP directly to West Lake Corridor at fhpassion.com, and passion is spelled P as in Paul, ASCHEN. Lastly, I'm finalizing a draft of the local participation plan, which basically acts as a how-to guide for businesses and contractors to meet our compliance requirements of hiring Gary residents and Gary businesses. So by the next board meeting when I present next month, you should have that draft in your hands. And so with that, that completes my report, and I'll entertain any questions or comments or suggestions that you may have.
Are there any questions for Ms. Davis?
Yeah, what's the Lake Ridge area, contract area you're talking about?
The Westlake Corridor?
That's corridor. Where is that? Where is it located?
The actual project?
Yes.
I don't have the actual specifics of how far that's going to extend, but we're talking about the train line. It's a project that is going through NICD. I believe it's between Hammond and Sherrville or Hammond and Dyer, that West Lake Corridor project, but I'm not sure specific if it's Dyer or Sherrville. But it is a train line that will take them from Hammond to outside that area.
What does that have to do with Gary?
Well, we want to make sure that all contractors have an opportunity to participate. So to the degree that there are contracting opportunities that our local Gary minority and women-owned businesses can participate, we definitely want to make sure that they have their opportunity. So just as we collaborated with Indiana American Water and others to make sure that local Gary contractors are participating, this is just another opportunity.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Davis? Thank you, Ms. Davis.
You're welcome.
That completes the information updates, and the next item on our agenda is discussion, and that is discussion amongst members of the board. Is there any topic a board member wishes to discuss at this time? Hearing none, we'll move along our agenda to request to speak. Ms. Lee, are there any requests to speak?
Yes, excuse me, we have one, Miss Nancy Valentine.
Ms. Valentine?
Good morning, Commissioners and staff. I am down here because I had went to the Gary Sanitary District main branch on Broadway to try to get a bill resolved. My concern is that the water bill that I'm looking at, and I'll have somebody make copies because I need somebody to do some investigation for me. The bill is for $52.84. There was 6,000 gallons of water used, but the bill from the sanitary district was $161.50. And I'm trying to figure out, is it always the sanitation bill is always twice as much as the water bill? Is there anybody that can answer that, or can you direct me to somebody that can answer that? The previous bill that was payment was received on September the 9th. That was $201. There's 3 people that live in this particular property, and again, I'm concerned about the high rate of the Gary Sanitary District. I've also went through the process with the water company to have the house inspected to make sure there was no leaks in the house. We've had plumbers over there to make sure there was no leaks. So I went through all the processes that was given to me by your sanitary district office on Broadway. But again, I got no response as to why the bill is so high. So if you could just tell me what the process is, what do I need to do, who do I need to talk to? But I would like to talk to somebody that will respond to the public, because right now I'm having difficulties getting through to your people down at the main branch.
Sure. So, Ms. Valentine, what I can tell you from up here is this: there hasn't been any recent changes to any of the rates or anything here at the Gary Sanitary District. In reference to the question, are the bills always twice as high? No, they're not. As you can imagine, every household is different. If you'd like, we can review the bills with you after the meeting.
Okay, yeah, I know you don't have time to do it today. If you could identify somebody that I need to talk to either here, and I'll submit whatever necessary information you guys need. Can we do that?
Sure, absolutely. This is how things roll downhill. That person would be Daniel Vakari, the Executive Director of the Gary Sanitary District.
Okay, but he's not accessible to the public. Is there somebody that's accessible to the public?
Since you asked, he's now accessible. He's right here. He will take copies of those bills, and he will get back with you.
Thank you.
Ms. Lee, are there any other requests to speak?
No, sir.
Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is adjournment. What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
We are adjourned. I call to order this meeting of the Gary Stormwater Management District, this regular meeting of the Board of Directors for Monday, October 21st, 2019. The first thing on the agenda is roll call. Ms. Lee.
Director Tremel Rags.
Present.
Director Maurice Mabon.
Present.
Director Ola Morris.
Present.
Director Charles Jackson.
Present.
Attorney Joel Harris Jr.
Present?
Executive Director Daniel Vakari.
Present.
Director of Administration Vern White.
Present.
And that's the end of roll call.
All right, with 4 directors present, we do have a quorum to do business. Next on the agenda is certification. I, Tremel Rags, certify that prior to this public meeting, there was an executive session held, that there was nothing that was discussed during that executive session except the things that were indicated on the executive session notice posted in compliance with Indiana Code 5-14-1.5. Also, there were no final decisions that were made during that executive session in compliance with that same statute. If there is any director that dissents this certification, they may do so now. Hearing none, we'll move along to the minutes. What is the pleasure of the board regarding the minutes?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the executive session and regular meeting minutes of October 7, 2019.
Second it, Mr. Chair.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Lee.
Director Jackson.
Yes.
Director Morris.
Yes.
Director Mabon.
Yes.
Director Rags.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
With 4 ayes and 0 noes, the minutes have been approved. Next on our agenda is new business, and for new business, I will turn it over to Executive Director, Mr. Daniel Vakari.
The only items on the agenda being payroll in nature, I would like to ask Vern White to provide the new business today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Item 2A, a motion to approve GSWMD's payroll earnings for period ending September 2nd, 2019 through September 15, 2019, in the amount of $11,281.29. I recommend approval as stated in the motion.
You've heard the overview and recommendation with regard to 2A. What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved for approval, Mr. Chair.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Lee.
Director Jackson.
Yes.
Director Morris.
Yes.
Director Mabon.
Yes.
Director Rabb.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
With 4 ayes and 0 noes, 2A has been approved.
Item 2B, a motion to approve GSWMD's payroll earnings for period ending September 16, 2019 through September 29, 2019, in the amount of $11,552.80. I recommend approval as stated in the motion.
You've heard the overview and recommendation with regard to 2B. What is the pleasure of the board?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second, Mr. Chair.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Lee.
Director Jackson.
Yes.
Director Morris.
Yes.
Director Mabon.
Yes.
Director Rags.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
With 4 ayes and 0 noes, 2B has been approved.
That completes today's stormwater new business items.
Moving along the agenda, next we come to claims, and for claims, I will turn it over to the Director of Administration, Ms. Vernon White.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 3A, GSWMD claims numbers 453 through 471 in the amount of $201,808.31. I recommend approval and ratification of today's stormwater claims.
You've heard the overview and recommendation with regard to 3A. What is the pleasure of the board?
So move for approval and ratification, Mr. Chair.
Chairman, if I may interject, I apologize. I see item 467 that I just caught on the claims list. I would like to ask that be stricken from the claims list until we get back to you, so that there can be an amendment to the motion.
So where are you on that last vote then? What's the current motion?
The current motion is a motion and second to approve claims.
So you need an amendment to that.
Did you say 466 or 467?
67.
In light of the director's statement in reference to item 467 on the claims form, is there an amendment to the motion?
Amendment to the motion for taking it off.
Yes. Would you amend your motion to approval of the claims?
Excluding 467.
Excluding 467.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Maybach, would you?
Second.
Your second is amended as well. Okay. Any further discussion?
What was the reason?
We have resolved, that's an appeal from a stormwater fee that we have not fully resolved, and it's something we will bring to the board for a resolution prior to issuing that rebate. It's not ready.
Let me see.
It was a request put in, not something that's been approved.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Ms. Lee.
Director Jackson.
Yes.
Director Morris.
Yes.
Director Mabon.
Yes.
Director Rags.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
With 4 ayes and 0 noes, the claims absent claim 467 have been approved and ratified.
That completes today's claim items for the Superior Stormwater Management District.
Thank you. Moving along our agenda, next we come to information updates. Our first information update will be from our MS4 coordinator, Ms. Brenda Scott Henry.
Good afternoon. I only want to make note of 2 events that we have coming up. One, on October 23rd, this is a webinar where Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson will be on panel discussion with Sandra Albrose, discussing the Vacant to Vibrant activity that project that we have in the Etna community. This requires you to register, so if you will contact my office at 882-3000, we can give you the information, but the title of the webinar is Vacant to Vibrant, Embedding Green Space in Neighborhoods to Clean Water and Bring Equitable Prosperity to Neighborhoods. So that time is 12:15 to 1:45 p.m. And just want to encourage and promote the mayor's participation in this project that we've had for some time now. The second is our annual activity that we have to create safe spaces for youth and families to celebrate participate in Halloween. We are hosting our Harvest Fest and Trunk or Treat. We've encouraged our local growers to come out that day and participate, provide information on fresh fruits and vegetables that are and their experience in growing those vegetables this year, as well as the local food truck will be there, which is our farmers market event will be occurring at the same time. So we're encouraging the public. If you have not participated in one of the farmers market activities, this is the last one of the year. Please come out on October 31st at 5 p.m. at the Hudson Campbell Fitness Center at 455 Massachusetts Street. That's all I have for you. If you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to respond.
Any questions for Ms. Scott Henry?
And you should have my board report in your packet.
And it's a very nice report. I do like the way it's tabbed out now. I think Commissioner Jackson pointed that out previously.
Yeah.
Our next information update will be from American Structure Point, and that will come from Mr. John Tucker.
Good afternoon, directors. A few construction updates. The Army Corps project Ambridge, those two repairs actually have been completed, so the patchwork will happen sometime this week, and then they are waiting for lining to start the 1st of November, so that one's still moving forward, but as everything's starting to get lined up to be completed. Lake Street, fast-moving job. Had paving going on Friday and Saturday. The next two lifts between 3rd and 5th, and the first lift between 5th and Miller Avenue there, which will help. Curb is scheduled this week. Actually, the rain postponed it today. So once they get the curb in, the next steps are to quickly proceed on trying to get all the sidewalks in place, starting in the business district, moving from Miller, more of a south to north. Right now, they are prepping the areas that are ready for sidewalk as well between 3rd and 5th. That's the big push, is to try to keep moving with the asphalt. As soon as they get the curb in, they'll get that on schedule. So as soon as the Washington Kelly can fit that into their schedule, that'll take priority to get the asphalt, the next two lifts up for that one. And then we're really looking at just the concrete work to get us through. Hopefully before the holidays is definitely the goal, to have everything on that from the tracks north up to 3rd Avenue complete. So that is all I have today. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions for Mr. Tucker? Thank you, Mr. Tucker.
Thank you.
Our next information update will be from Robinson Engineering, and that will come from Mr. Ron Smith.
Good afternoon, Directors. Ron Smith with Robinson Engineering. Just a couple of updates this afternoon. The first one is the Warren Street sanitary sewer feasibility study. There was some additional work that needed to be completed. That's almost done. We're currently drafting the technical memo, and we'll be scheduling a meeting with Executive Director Dan Vicari to review our findings and that memo. Wastewater treatment plant, Eric Tonk did provide an update on that. Paving, concrete work is done. Also, the striping, punch list, and minor landscaping is remaining. Forest Avenue and Locust and Twin Place project. The tree removal did actually start on Saturday, so they're almost completed. Weather dependent, they had a little bit of work to complete today, so they might be able to finish that. And like Mr. Tunk said, they'll be issued the contract will be issued the notice to proceed for the improvements on both of those projects. And the Sixth Place project, that is the Sixth Place and Cleveland project. The topographic survey and the scoping has been completed. We will be back with the board to give a cost estimate. Bless you. For the design of that project. That's all I have this afternoon. I'll entertain any questions that you may have.
Any questions for Mr. Smith? Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, and have a good afternoon.
You too. Next is discussion. That'll be discussion amongst any member of the Board of Directors for any item. Is there any topic a board member wishes to discuss at this time? Hearing none, we'll move along to request to speak. Ms. Lee, are there any requests to speak?
No, sir.
And with no request to speak, that now brings us to adjournment. What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
We are adjourned.